Welcome back to the Canadian Gun Vault. My name is Mark Morelli. I'll be your host for this evening's podcast. I know you're probably listening to it in the morning on your drive. Canadian Limey, I'll do my best to keep it in somewhere around the 35-minute mark so you arrive just on time as it's finishing. I'm looking at the latest news, and, the standout is going to have to be the total ban on guns in urban areas. They're taking voting polls. Percentage-wise, who's for it, and so they're doing these polls in areas, that are, unknown. I mean, I could poll 2,000, apparently, total number of votes, 4,346. So, I don't know. I try and keep an open mind that maybe these are, blind polls, but I know that they're not. I mean, they must go to an area where they know they can get, a high percentage rate that are in favor of. And you got to wonder who's funding the poll, and, we got to make sure his horse comes in first. To say that 69% or whatever it was, are in total favor of banning guns from, urban areas. And yeah, that's nice. I could go to the gun range and I could take a poll. And I'll bet you I could find 100% people that would be interested in a relaxation of the gun laws because, they're not the problem. To take these things kind of, lightly, when I see these things going out in the news, I think to myself, well, you know what, let's put our own polls out there too. Why don't we? Seeing as we don't know where these ones are coming from, I'm willing to bet that if we went into any one of a number of areas randomly and asked them if they wanted to, if they were explained, what the laws entail, they probably would sit there and say, well, no, if it just means spending more money and it's ineffective as it is, why are we still using that? Doesn't that cost more money? And, if you really did take people and intelligently kind of educate them, I'm sure, you'd find that a much higher number of people would be in favor of, streamlining the current laws. But, these polls go out there, and of course, the Canadian firearm community gets a little bit rambunctious. Another fake news poll. They don't really take them, probably as seriously as they should. These go out there, people see them, they go, oh, yeah, I think to kind of disregard, the media kind of working up the war machine. As we come up on anniversaries of, massacres and, the government promising to stricten up gun laws. And, they delay the delivery of the new legislation. And it's like, well, what's going on there? I've had a number of people contact me and say, what do you think? I don't know. Are they lumping more in? Are they making some last minute changes so that it's actually something that, could be implemented? I don't know. I do grow increasingly concerned, though, when there's all this secrecy surrounding it. I really do want to know what they're cooking up. And by now we should have some idea before they drop it in our laps. But hopefully we'll get news very soon. If this government is interested in being transparent, as they promised, we should be able to kind of, get an inkling of as to what they've got planned. I don't know. I pay attention, in the firearm community. Somebody should know by now if it wasn't such a big secret. Yeah, we're thinking about this or that, and it can't be good if we haven't heard anything. That's kind of my take on things. But it could just as easily be that the number of firearm owners in this country has grown so enormous, so quickly, and you've got this growing voice, and you're bound together with social media. You got YouTube, you got Instagram and Facebook, podcasts like these to kind of connect us all, which is cool. When I created the Canadian Gun Vault, it initially started just with the Instagram account. And people have kind of asked me, why, wow, it's really an interesting build. What is it? And sometimes it kind of defies description. I really want to answer this question because I've looked at this one quite often. Is why? Well, I saw a need in the firearm community to have some kind of common voice, and so I decided to create this place where everybody could kind of come. I wanted there to be, room for everybody, because you go to clubs and stuff, and you can see the cliques, and the shotgun guys don't really mix with the rifle guys, and sporting clay guys don't hang out with handgun guys, and I mean they're separate ranges, so these people don't really see each other. But it's nice to see people kind of cross borders, and every once in a while you'd see a guy that you ordinarily saw, on the trap range, he'd be on the firing line. It was kind of odd. They didn't get out there that often. And, to see people kind of migrate around more these days makes it, a lot easier for me to photograph, people I know. And, to like showcase the Canadian firearm community for what it was. I really saw a need to do that. And, I started taking pictures, and I started posting them, and people started liking them and spreading them around a little bit. And then there was this crazy snake slayer video. It was just like a little clip on Instagram, and it skyrocketed. And all of a sudden, my numbers were climbing thousands, a week. And it was really exciting, like, okay, people like what I'm doing. That's nice. I really didn't imagine that the Canadian Gun Vault was going to become kind of a voice, in a community, which is totally cool. Like, I mean, I really love watching this thing evolve. And, first it was for enthusiasts and, to educate people. I kind of liked, doing the write-ups on the guns. And, for me, that was really, interesting. To do the research and to talk about the guns and to actually photograph them, in action in people's hands was really kind of, for me, exciting. And, to share that with the public and to watch them show interest, to hear from people and they say that there's, at times I've heard people, come across and tell me that they got their license because of us, and that makes me really happy. I hear about father-son combinations. Yeah, we were watching your show. We decided to get our license, and we went and we did it. And that really is the power of social media. If you can kind of bring people into this world and show them that it is really, exciting and fun, and it's normal people doing it, of all shapes and sizes. You don't have to be an action hero, to shoot a gun. And, and it looks like a friendly community, and it is. And there's just so much you can learn and do. It's endless. It really is an amusement park for adults, responsible adults, to go to the range. There's a safety protocol in place, and, people still have personalities, though. Like, I mean, you don't, just load a gun and shoot blindly at nothing. Like, I mean, there's a social aspect to it. There's mechanical aspect when things fail, and you occasionally get people like turning to others for help. There really is always that one guy on the range who's got everything you need to fix your gun on site. You got to watch that guy though, with the pocket knife that decides he's going to pry open your gun using it. Like, that guy, you got to keep an eye on. Like, he's not a gunsmith. When you first go out there as a new shooter, be careful. Always never be afraid to turn to the person next to you if you think there's a problem. That's that's the other thing I get asked a lot is being out on the line. Occasionally people have failures, or they don't know what to do. If you ever have a problem, put the gun down, gently. I've seen people throw guns down when they do something funny. I don't know, it's not working. They just drop it on the desk. Don't do that. Like, put them down gently, and and turn to the person next to you if you've had a problem and you can't, if you don't recognize it easily, and just ask them what they think, and you'll get the help you need. That's one of the cool things about the firearm community is there's always somebody nearby that knows what he's doing. Hopefully, that person will probably be you with a bit of time. It's there are certain principles, and I've always enjoyed, instructing new people. I'm not qualified as an instructor. I shouldn't say that. I'm not instructing people. I'm just kind of, assisting them along, offering, good advice. I wouldn't call myself an instructor by any means. For the people that are qualified, no disrespect to you, I probably would screw up 9 times in the first 30 seconds, and I always think I'm safe, but being in the shooting community from all the way back in the late '80s, early '90s, it was like the Wild Wild West back then. I took a good friend of mine, Adrian, out once. Like 20 years later, he asked me, like, when I was younger, I was much more into guns, and then I got out for a while while I was in policing, and then I returned to the community, and it was really fun to take out, like, one of my childhood friends, who we'd gone shooting with, as kids. And if you remember that friend you had when you had a pellet gun when you were a kid, I mean, the chaos that ensued. I'm sure everybody has, a target that they hit that they, would admit to at some point or another in their life with a pellet gun. Whether it be, mom's vase or, you know, there's definitely, something cool about, thinking back to those times. So Adrian's a part of that for me. And so I get Adrian out, and of course he's out on the firing line with me, and, he goes to change a magazine. And he turns the gun kind of sideways. And I'm like, whoops, we're not in the 90s, buddy. Like, there's no one to the left. There was only like a berm, but still, it's like, oh, and it's amazing how, the way people were taught back then and what was, acceptable then in terms of safety was different. So to bring people up to speed and to now with a modern standard, of safety protocols, that's put in place. In most clubs, it's pretty safe, to go shooting. You won't find many loosey-goosey ranges out there these days, that aren't regulated. But to be part of this community and to be able to get Adrian out was a real treat for me. I want to get so many people out. It's really difficult to keep up sometimes. There's a lot of people that have been on the back burner for a while that I'm hoping to get out. Got some really cool, Swedish Mausers, and a few other guns that I'm really excited about shooting. And I know that most of you know that when I get excited about anything, there's got to be something really cool in it. We love bringing you guys the art we do and the firearm photography. Like, I love doing that. It's difficult to keep up. I might have to take a little bit of a period to slow down a little bit. So you might see fewer postings. I'm going to devote my energies into a few other areas of the Canadian Gun Vault, and then we're going to resume filming, of course, and we're dropping some really cool stuff is coming up soon. In fact, we filmed something the other day that, really makes me happy to get it to you guys. This is going to be, like, hands down, like, one of the most ridiculous events ever on our YouTube channel. I'll kind of share it with you guys. So, for the people that are listening really closely, you get the drop on the video. We have the shotgun pistol video coming up. And I promise you guys are going to laugh your butts off. For the people that really like, full-on horsepower type handguns, you're going to take this one. Anyway, that's about all the time I have for tonight's episode of Canadian Gun Vault Behind the Vault Door. Looks like Canadian Limey, you're out of luck, buddy. You're going to have to find a good radio station to get you in the rest of the way to work. We're only coming in at the 17-minute mark. All right, folks, have a great day, and as always, be safe.